Welcome, everyone, to episode 221 of Keeping It Real. I'm your host, Jackkadis. Today, we're lucky enough to have a guest with us in the building. You might remember him, Pete. I'm going to run through a few things before we start. First things first, if you're interested in sponsoring the episode, we have open slots, exactly 3 per episode. They're 30 seconds long, and the price is negotiable. So if you're interested in being not only a sponsor, but the very first sponsor of this show, Keeping It Real, get in touch with me. Moving on, we like to split this show up into 3 segments. It's a great show we have here. We do it every day. Comes out at 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a dot. And these 3 segments usually have more strict guidelines and can be ordered more into things that are discernible from one another when I'm alone. But now that Pete's here, I'll just make a point to read an ad every 20 minutes. For the sake of saying things, just in case you're a first-time listener, usually we try and keep it real in the first 20 minutes. The second 20-minute segment is usually reserved for more of a real-world commentary. We like to take the news and give our standpoint on it. And then the last 20 minutes is a mix of keeping it real and then sort of speaking outward towards the audience, giving a little bit of advice and talking about philosophy, if you want to say that. You know, on Spotify, this is they had me pick what kind of podcast it would be, and I clicked philosophy.
Okay.
So it's just, I don't know which one I was going to choose, but that's the one I chose. I was just trying to get past the menu, you know? It's like on a dating app when they ask you what your hobbies are. Yeah. You're like, I'm just trying to get laid. Like, it's not like, or like, it's like when you make a new YouTube account or, you know, I don't think YouTube does this, but Twitter is like, you have to follow 5 people. And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to tweet. What do you mean I have to follow 5 people? And it's like,
not just be a bot.
Tom Brady, Lady Gaga, and what do I got to do to get my name on that list?
I'm not ready, man.
Well, you're ready. You're always ready. You took a seat in the seat. You're in the 99th percentile of podcast guests, like Keeping It Real here. And we're grateful to have you. Seriously.
Oh, we're grateful. Your entire team is grateful.
Yeah, it's a big team.
Yeah, don't let the office know in the back.
I took everybody out to dinner the other day.
Yeah.
And they just kept on yapping and yapping. And then at the end, you know, I was just kind of overwhelmed. They expected me to pay for everything.
Mm-hmm. And then you couldn't leave a tip. It would have just been too much on top.
I'm sure you understand. It's ridiculous.
What do you think about employees discussing wages amongst each other in a big business?
I've thought about this often, a lot of times, throughout all the jobs I've had.
Do you not?
Well, I don't. A lot of times, what I've come to learn, like, if I've actually learned anything, because I don't think I've actually been able to, like, pull on direct experience of, you know, wage conversation to make a point on this. But when it comes to, like, what do you let them, I have come to learn that even though there's an objective and it's work and it's different from just like living your life, you're at a job and you have coworkers, you can never make a coworker do anything. So like you can't, or to put it in, like you can't let them do anything either. So you kind of have to just.
What do you mean let them?
I mean, what if the whole conversation's happening without you? Back and forth. I make this much. I make this much. Like at that point, it's like, do you want to listen? Like, do you want to listen?
I thought that too. But now, personally experiencing that, they don't, bro. They don't talk to each other. No one talks to each other about it. Like, I could talk about it to a coworker I'm close to, but to a coworker who I'm not close to, it's never going to happen. Like, people feel obliged to not talk about it as just like a corporate standard.
Is it a corporate standard, or is it? I feel like there's lots of things that go into it.
It is, as of right now, I'm assuming it's a corporate standard to not discuss wages amongst employees. This just doesn't happen.
What other corporate standards have I? Because you're in a world that I am so far away from.
Something I've had to get used to, and I feel like maybe not a lot of people do, to just like always give it a little knock before walking in anyone's office. I mean, the door's wide open. The door, in my mind, being wide open indicates, oh, just come on in. It doesn't. So everyone's door is open. That does not mean you can just walk in, which is an interesting. And I'll be like, I'm not used to. I mean, I'll knock obviously in a house when the door's closed or like I'm about to come in, but in an office standard, I just have to keep reminding myself to knock on it.
Have you been burned before? Has anyone yelled at you for that kind of thing?
No, but I can tell like I kind of spooked them. They weren't prepared for me to walk in, and I don't blame them. I just gotta get used to it.
I don't know if I'd be able to last. It's such a professional setting. I don't think that. I don't know if I'd be able to handle that.
I don't know. I've only been in there. It's like I don't know if it's because I'm an intern or if I was like there for longer. It's so hard because so many people have different opinions on how much they care about. Like, let's say you're walking into a room where they say you have to wear safety glasses. Sometimes they'd be like, "Oh, we care if you wear safety glasses." And other times they'd be like, "Nobody cares." It's like, what rules do you follow and what rules do you not?
It's different. Have you ever seen the Apple TV show with? It's The Office. But
Just The Office?
No. Like they're inside and outside of the white rooms. Why can't I remember the name of the show? Cut? What's the procedure? You've never seen it, I guess.
I haven't seen a lot of
Well,
things.
I mean, that's good, so I can just explain it to you rather than just
Let's do it.
shout the name out. Every time they go into their job and they get in the elevator, they become a new person.
Oh, you're talking about
Severance.
Severance.
They were severed.
Yeah, we talked about that.
So when you come outside of work, I want to ask you on this podcast outside of work, how much do you make a year? But I want to ask it in the context of like, think about all the weird things that you don't think are weird outside of work because you've been living in outside of work for your whole life. Like, would you say that? Probably not.
Would I say how much I make a year?
Yeah.
Well, because I'm an intern, yeah, I don't care as much because that's obviously I'm an intern and not like a salary employee. Because, I mean, the contract I have is only 3 months.
Huh. I feel like it's really scary to work a job because Severance is a successful show for a reason. Even though it's not a literal brain implant where you're two separate people and when you clock into work, you immediately snap back to you clocking out of work. But it resonates with a lot of it resonated with a lot of people, and it did. When I watched the show, I was like, "Whoa!" And when I took a trip to my dad's office, my dad works he's a lawyer.
Yeah.
And I don't get to go to his office too much because why would I? I don't work his job.
You blend right in.
But I've been a couple times, and I just went recently, and it was striking how everyone was working, and it was like, I don't know how to explain it, but I remember telling my dad and my mom, I was like, it's like Severance. Like literally, it's not like literally. Like my dad doesn't actually forget when he comes home what he did all day, but he doesn't talk about it.
Dude,
and the only
that's what
times
I'm
I get to, the only time I know it's
no one talks about it. It's almost like
that's what a good employee is.
I know I don't know them enough, but it's almost like.
But no one's gonna actually tell you what's going on outside of work.
It's because you wouldn't be there with these people if it wasn't for work.
But is that what it is though, or is it just over time, the office job? Because I think if you guys were in the coal mines together,
probably be talking more.
I mean, you'd probably know more about so-and-so's daughter. Like, I feel like there's something about that like where that boundary doesn't exist. And maybe it's not what is the difference there? Is it you're doing physical labor, or am I just thinking of coal mines as like an old job? Like even in the office space back in the old days, because that's true. You see old movies and people have whiskey in their desks and everyone's friends. So maybe it's not.
I think because in the old times, people were making a more amount of money that they were satisfied with.
So everyone is
now they're just on the grind,
obsessed with upward mobility and being emotional.
Before you
can
could go into work,
that.
I think before you could go into work and you could, you would. I mean, obviously you're always gonna want more money, or some people aren't, but there's like a salary range you want, and that when you're within that salary range, you're more satisfied, and when you're under that salary range, you're not as satisfied because you feel like you're getting underpaid. Now, I'm just curious. 50, 60 years ago, did they feel that feeling of being underpaid? Did they feel that? I don't know. I'd have to ask somebody older.
Maybe some. And when we look back in the past, all we see is like movies.
If you're older and listening to this podcast, drop a comment.
Drop a comment. I think, dang, you just like disarmed me. I forgot my train of thought because that was funny. I think that I wouldn't want to, I'm not going to take... I don't like it. I don't like it.
You don't like what?
I don't like living two separate lives.
Yeah, you don't like it, but I mean, it's the same thing with restraint. I go into work, I'm not going to say, fuck, shit, balls, faggot,
Well, yeah, but you can do that and still like.
Dude, I'm telling you, if I like even want to say the word like shit, I'd just like almost be on the verge of having to whisper it because people would judge you so harshly across the hall if they heard you say it.
So do you think out there is a middle? There has to be. For you, maybe.
The middle might just be being there longer. I could just be feeling that because I've only been there for 3 months, you know? How do I know, like, I don't know how it is for people who've been there longer if I'm not even there, you know? They could be just, maybe they're even just put on a face to look good for me. I wouldn't know.
Well, wouldn't they be putting on a face to make more money?
Well, you don't really make more money. It's regardless of the amount of work you do, the amount of money you're making is barely changing, which is the problem with motivation. Because jobs that don't involve a, what's it called? Like when you sell a car, you get a cut of it. You know what I'm talking about.
A royalty?
Not a royalty, like
when you sell a house and you're the realtor?
Yes, that.
Commission.
I think if more jobs were commission-based, it would motivate employees to do more. But because it's not, it's like you clock in and it's like, I only got to do X amount for the day. But if you had the mindset, oh, the more blank I do, the more percentage I can get for the month, the more commission I can get for the month. It'd be way more motivation.
There's something taboo about commission, though. I just had a sales rep knock on my door, and I slammed the door in her face. Because I don't... Seriously, I'm being so serious. That's not something that, like, I put up with. Like, I'm... Like, it's ridiculous.
I mean, if you're a door-to-door salesman, if I was a door-to-door salesman and I wasn't getting commission...
Well, they're all paid on commission.
Yeah, they are, but imagine if it was even more standardized. I guess for some jobs it'd be harder to do that, but some jobs it could be implemented.
She made me so mad, dude, because I
what was
heard...
she selling?
Well, I don't give a shit. Probably some Verizon thing like the last person. I heard her talking to my neighbor.
Your life?
What if she changed my life? Anything always has that ability. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't, you know.
Dude, I feel like you're R farming over there. The light's perfectly hitting you.
I know. Maybe we should turn it off.
No. What if you just angle it down like an inch and it won't be like directly on your face?
Well, I can't.
Oh, you think I'm tall enough, man? I'm a midget.
Down? I was gonna get it off my face. You want it to be on me?
No, because if you do down, the line won't be on your face.
Okay.
Boom, that's enough. Because before the line was going directly through your face.
Yeah, I saw that. You're actually right. Okay. I think...
I'm loving this.
Well, you know how, like, when you go to work, there's just norms that are new to you but obeyed by everyone else?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People don't... She's knocking on my door and wants money from me. I don't care if it's not directly her.
How do you know she wants money? You overheard? You said, what'd you overhear?
She has an iPad.
Oh, okay. An iPad? What's she selling?
It's a Verizon. She's trying to get me on a Verizon plan. They come all the time. It's Verizon. I recognize the iPad. And when I hear her talking to my neighbors, I got really upset because I knew she was coming to my door next. And I wasn't going to let her I honestly got so mad that I opened the door just to shut it in her face.
Whoa, why?
Like, I could have said, go away.
What if you never even looked at it? You know, you just shut the door was already shut. You know, it was never open.
Because I feel it's like this is what disgusts me about the whole thing, and it's why I see. Well, let me just make a difference in between your job and her job. Your job, all these rules and norms they have in place, is much more appealing to me because there's in no scenario when you're off work, you're off work.
Yes, that is the number one thing I like right now.
You have an HR department, and it serves you entirely, and I think that's amazing. What this girl does when she knocks on people's doors, she relies on human connection to make a dollar, and I think it's kind of gross.
Yeah,
because when I hear her knock, I want to go open the door, even though I know she's selling things, and I know I'm not going to give her any money. When people knock at my door, I get excited. I like people. People are fun, and people knock on my door all the time, but
I have a different viewpoint on it.
I don't like what she does, and I feel like people get tricked into doing that kind of thing, and they don't get paid. It's commission. I have a friend that sells knives, and he's worth so much more than selling Cutco knives. It's a pyramid scheme. It's gross.
Okay, but what if that was the only job she could get for the moment? What if she's just trying to feed her kids, and that's the only job that would hire her right there? You know?
I mean,
she's just doing her job. That's like getting mad at the waiter when the kitchen's doing bad.
So when you walk past a homeless person, are you going to think, what if I'm the only person that's going to be able to give them $100 right now?
That's not the same.
Why not?
Because the homeless person is not working a job. No one's telling them to be homeless.
You see what I'm saying? It's just different perspectives. Like, why is it wrong for me to think of... Why is it wrong for me to build, like, the kind of world that I'm building?
No, but okay, let's put it like this. That's like you're working at Jersey Mike's, and a customer comes in and asks for something that you can't do.
I said, I can't do that.
That you can't do. That's if you tell them, I can't do that. And they got mad at you because you couldn't do something because, let's say, corporate told you couldn't do it.
Which happens.
Now, does that make any sense for them to be mad at you? It's not they're not mad at corporate for allowing. They're mad at you. Now, them getting mad at you for not being able to do something that corporate said you couldn't do is the same thing as you getting mad at this person who's just doing their job. That's the same thing in my eyes.
Well, then by that standard, it's fine. You know, people get mad at me, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm pissed off at it because I don't think that this person should be doing. Because I build my world every day, and we're all building our own worlds. Even if everyone tries their best to seem selfless and not egotistical, we're stuck in our own minds individually as we roam this planet. So she's building her world, and in her world, for whatever reason, it's become. She thinks that she can. Listen, I'm all for disrupting people all the time, every time. But only if it's with good intent. And I think with money being involved, it squanders all that. You have to be honest to yourself.
So from her perspective, should she have not knocked on your door? If
she wanted to be my friend, I would love to.
Okay, so her boss tells her, hey, you have to do blank by blank. Do you think she's just going to go in her car and then, like, then go back to him a couple hours later, not knock on anybody's door because they could be rude to her?
I hope she quits because...
You hope she quits?
I hope she quits because I hope I wasn't the only person that's going to door in her face. I hope people cussed her out. People told her to get the hell off their front porch.
That's crazy. But what about if statistically...
It's a norm.
Verizon's more likely to make money?
It's a norm. When I'm home... The only reason you should be approaching me is because... It shouldn't be because we're strangers and you want to extract some money from my wallet.
Okay. Do you have a sign on your door that says no soliciting?
That shouldn't. That shouldn't be.
No sales.
And even if it wasn't a norm, I'm just saying my personal. I'm just saying, like.
Dude, I think you're really wrong. I think that's just rude to someone doing their job. Now, I think if.
Well, I'm not saying you're wrong. How are you saying I'm wrong?
Okay, because in her
job,
am I wrong she's told to knock on everybody's door, right? Now, in my mind, let's say you had a sign on your door that said no sales, no soliciting, blah, blah, blah. Something like that, right?
But this is a parallel. You're creating a hypothetical in which you're correct in whatever standard. I'm trying to get at what your standard is.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm saying if there was that sign and then she continued to knock on your door after, then
I'd be wrong. So you're not saying... wrong.
But what if there's a situation...
Then she'd be wrong.
She knocks on someone's door.
Well, I'm asking you when am I...
Let me finish. Let's say there's a situation where she knocks on somebody's door and they actually did need to sign up on a new plan. Something had happened with blank or blank and that she came at the perfect time. How is she going to ever know if on the other side of that door is someone that actually wants something or isn't? Because statistically, Verizon is making money off of her doing that and people are signing up from her plan because she's knocking on people's doors or else she wouldn't be doing it. Verizon would have no goal to do it.
Okay, you have a point.
I think I have a really good point. I think that was like spot on. That was the fucking pencil tip right there.
Well, so what? Well, okay, so then how come I'm trying my best not to text every girl on my phone every day?
What? Say it again, but like...
Statistically, if every single girl that I ever came across in public that I thought was attractive, if I just bothered her, and asked from her, spend time with me or... What's your name or when can I see you? Statistically, that would I would get whatever I'm.
People would do videos on that. Asking 100 women out on a date in a day.
I'm not talking about videos. I'm talking about in my real life.
I know, but it works though. The more people you ask.
So it works. Yes,
people do videos.
So you get towards a goal, right? And in my scenario, it's what would it be?
let's say your scenario is just setting up a date.
Getting laid. And then in her setting up a date. Sure, the goal point doesn't matter. And then for her scenario or her company scenario, it's making $1,
Yes.
right? I just don't think, I think it's naive, short-minded, and unintelligent to be so unaware of what your goal is, or not what your goal is, but it's to be so unaware and detached from the process of achieving whatever it is you think you want. Because while we can think, and that's great, it's becoming ever more clear to me, and should be to everyone, I hope, that just because we can think doesn't mean we always think right. And I don't know, I couldn't even for the life of me sit here and try and explain to you what right means, but that's the whole point. So when you look at me and you're like, it's to make $1, I'm like, okay, by what means?
Okay, but I look at it like this. She's going to do what she's doing either way because her job's telling her to, right? So by you hypothetically making her experience worse, just makes her day worse, and she still is going to do exactly what she was going to do.
Well,
but now she's just doing it worse.
Also, you're making a lot of assumptions when you create these like things where you just go off and like tell different stories.
What do you mean?
How do you know I made her day worse? Matter of fact, when the door shut in her face, she actually was like, "Okay, so it's like that then." And I wanted to open it back up and be like, "Fuck off! Never tell your company to never come back to this apartment again. I'm so sick and tired of you people." Because I think, what if it's you? What if it's my new roommate? You know, even though I heard her selling, like it's.
Then I think if that's how that kind of interaction makes you feel, then I think you should warn them with a sign so that they're just not blindly knocking on this door and then having it shut in their face. And in their eyes, like, I know you already know that you're thinking, oh, I don't want that. But in them, they could be thinking, wow, I did nothing wrong to them. They could be thinking that, oh, I just knocked on their door and they were rude. I did nothing wrong. There's no sign saying I shouldn't knock. I was just knocking on their door. Why were they rude to me?
I see your point. I'm trying to figure out how both what I think and how you think coexist together.
I think the only way that I could see your action was correct is if there was a sign on the door to not do so.
You got to hear what I just said about being right. How can you say? Are you trying to tell me that
that's what I said.
You possess the definition of correct?
Well, that's why I'm getting there. I think it would be correct, and like that's what I think means. I'm saying I think. That means I think. That's nothing. That's not fact. If I think that if there was a sign on your door that said something like "sales don't knock" or something like that, and then she proceeded to knock, then your actions are justified. But if there is no sign and she knocks, why should she deserve a rude outcome when she has no clue that from the get-go that you don't like this kind of interaction?
Okay, this is now what I think. This podcast, I desperately want it to be very different from when you go to work, right? There's no HR department here. It's me. I'm the HR department. And as the HR department, I say to you, instead of, like, I don't know how we got down this rabbit hole. I'll say it was more you than me, to be honest, because I began this story with the intention of expressing how I felt in a past moment. Very recent. Things happen to me all the time. This one just happened. So I feel like maybe if I could control you, I would have been like, well, I would have asked me why I felt that way.
I think this is
because that would have been a more valuable.
This is bigger though. This is bigger for me
because I want to ask you all the time how you feel unnecessarily, but I don't know how that question. I'm trying to figure out the equivalent.
This is why I'm going to get into that right now. The reason I feel this way a little more strongly than other topics.
Well, do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I see exactly what you're saying. Is because growing up, I have just witnessed my mom a lot mistreating employees who were simply doing their job and didn't deserve it. Like, just like a lot. Like, let's say you're at a drive-through line and they're out of X, right? She would then, I'm not saying this is the same situation exactly.
This is, yeah. And
she would then get mad at them, and I'd always be the third party not being able to say anything because I'm a kid, witnessing her mistreat an employee who couldn't do anything about it. How is that fair?
It's not.
And I've witnessed that a lot. And it's like...
Well, that's way different.
She's just doing her job, bro.
That's way different.
She's just doing her job.
It's interesting.
She's just doing her job.
And my ears are open. But I talk about something that happened to me 2 hours ago. And this is like a childhood event.
What, my example?
Yeah.
It's childhood events many a times.
Well, there seems to be like one root moment where like you establish this is what I think of this, and then you would continue to see it again and again.
Yes. Hold up. Let me think right now. Okay, you ready? We were at a Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
And she had asked to do something a certain way. Like, could you put blank on top of blank or just something like that? And then they had said no. And she started making a whole scene. She literally left the restaurant yelling at these employees. I was embarrassed to be there. She was yelling, infuriated about this. And she got just so upset that she ended up not even paying. She was so mad. She just walked out, mad at them for something that they're just told not to do.
I get angry all the time.
I mean,
but I always wonder. I wonder because what you're telling me about this lady that came to my door, I genuinely see your side of it, and I'm like really trying to figure out like how we can both be right. Let me ask you, how can you know when it's anger because it's a human emotion and it's important to feel what you feel and acknowledge that, and human anger when it's crossing boundaries? Like what that story you tell me, I would think she definitely crossed the boundary by not paying. I would think she definitely crossed the boundary by not being aware of who she was around, her children.
Yeah.
I would think she definitely crossed the boundary by I'm sure she said things to these coworkers, these people that she didn't know, all sorts of boundaries. I would say like, personally, I would look down upon her for doing that. But how do we, like, how does one person like myself or you, when have you been angry in the near, because I think we all are everyone is so focused on, I don't know, because you think about it and you're like, well, to avoid this question entirely, you can just never get angry. But I don't think that's possible.
It's pretty damn close.
It's close to possible?
I've gotten pretty close.
To never being angry.
Dude, I've been working on my anger management since I was like 10. I almost had to go to classes for it. And I'd say here within the last year, I've been the least angry more in my entire life than ever.
Here?
No, in my entire year.
With your mom?
Oh, I said here. I meant life, like year.
This past year?
This past year, I have been the least angry than I've been.
Oh, least.
The least angry.
Sorry, I was kind of thinking about what I wanted to ask you.
Than every year prior.
Okay.
And if you're consciously working on it, it does get better.
But what if I said what if I said, would you be willing to think back to as a kid where you had anger problems?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well then
for sure. There was.
Well,
a time...
no, hold on. I had a think back I had an and there.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and
could you say it again?
Who told you had anger problems?
Oh, bro, it was apparent.
Was it you?
Oh, it was everybody.
Clearly, it's been you for the past couple of years. But who did it start out as?
Dude, because I got so mad that I got so mad that I was just standing there, just like so angry that my nose fucking started bleeding.
Children get mad.
Dude, I was just so mad.
Children get mad. And
children, yeah, but well, yeah, you're right. Children get mad.
Like, who told you that it was a problem? As in different than anyone else? Because I know you.
My entire family.
Your entire family.
Yeah, it was bad.
Well, what could it be? An entire stadium of people, and would you still be willing to think of the possibility that an entire stadium's worth of people are wrong?
Because I guess it depends on the stadium of people.
Oh, intense anger and stress can potentially lead to a nosebleed. I've been so angry that I have hurt myself.
Possible,
would a nosebleed? Would you consider that injuring yourself? You're bleeding. I've been so angry. We've all hurt ourselves because we're so angry in so many different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that anger is part of us, just like sex is part of us, and just like extreme happiness or the ability to be neutral and thought-provoking and the state that you might find yourself in a cubicle at work. It's all part of the same person. So, I personally, if you asked me, I wouldn't say that you had anger problems. And you might say, well, you don't know me.
Yeah, you didn't know me then.
But who's to say I don't know you in this particular instance better than you know yourself?
Dude, because I think the amount of change in between
Because, dude,
14,
Pete,
17 is just too large.
do you know how common that is? I think every single guy has an anger problem side of their mind.
I don't think so, dude.
They do, where they think
so?
Especially the kids that grew up like us and pretty well.
Okay, take it like this. How many, like, with your siblings, how many times was there a situation where, like, everyone was going out to dinner, but because your sibling was going, you were so mad at them you didn't even go?
Bro, so many. My siblings used to make me.
Yes.
Oh my
Dude,
god.
I know. Siblings make you so mad.
Oh my god.
And now, I thought that was normal, but I'm hearing a lot of cases where, like, people don't argue with their siblings. And that was, like, a whole different world to me.
Yeah.
They have, like, a
They
good
don't argue with their
relationship.
siblings. They argue. I mean, it's being a child. Like
No, I'm talking to, no. I'm talking about, like, I'd argue with, like, my 37-year-old brother.
Okay.
Like a few years ago.
Old people are just as angry as children.
Okay, at what point do you stop that? What if you're 18 arguing with a 16-year-old?
That's my point. It never stops. It's just when we get to middle ages, for some reason, we like to put on this persona. Whatever it may be, whatever percentages we mix in and see ourselves as. Just like you see yourself as the kid with anger problems, you might see yourself as the person with everything under control.
I disagree. I think that's too broad of a
I just
statement.
think the definitions of control and anger problems are so messed up, and we take them and we decide what they are in our own mind. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense.
I think that we don't know enough people or enough kids to make that statement.
Well, I mean, I know myself.
Yeah, you know yourself, but...
And what I've been through and what I've seen, which is weirdly enough part of myself. I've seen people less angry than me and more angry than me. I've had people tell me I'm the most angry person they've ever seen. I've had people tell me I'm the most peaceful person I've ever seen. Like, and it all just calls into the question, the more people I see and the more people I interact with. I mean, it's all about trends, right?
Well, okay.
The more I experience, the more I think none of it is serious enough to actually create a label like that. Like you just gave yourself. Because those are self-manifesting things, man.
How often?
I know a lot of guys that say that they're losers, and you know what they're losers, but only because they.
That wasn't a good example.
But only because they say that they are. Do you understand? And it started.
I think we should. Let's say this.
It started at a young age.
Okay, when you were in school, let's just say pre-K through.
Because we're in our
10.
20s. You see?
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at? So imagine you spend
I'm not
your
saying
whole
I have anger
20s.
issues now.
I'm not even talking about you necessarily or me.
Well,
I'm talking about this guy. Like, imagine he spends his whole 20s, you know, every once in a while, he'll just, you know, the social situation will come around. He'll think certain thoughts. Things will ping at him, and he'll be like, this is a good time to vocalize to other people or myself that, you know, I'm kind of a loser. And he starts to become okay with this label. And what do you think he ends up as a 30-year-old? Other people might call him a loser.
Yeah, I think this is more of like the last 20-minute segment kind of thing, you know?
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Well, we are in our middle segment right now, so we should be talking about a real-world event.
Okay.
Do you mind if I do a quick sponsor spot? It's 10
in just
seconds.
a second. This is relevant.
Well, okay.
And then
if you're interested in sponsoring the episode, get in touch with me. That's all. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pre-K through 10th grade, right? How often were you like in trouble for physical violence?
Very often. I got sent home once with a wristband that said I bit somebody. And I remember biting them. It was story time, and I leaned over like this.
I'm
not
saying,
anger, just curiosity.
Okay. Let's say out of anger. I don't think that's normal.
I may have in my life looked back to that moment and been like, I had anger problems. But now I was just curious, dude. I was just curious. I just bit somebody. It's probably a girl too. You know, I just bit someone's shoulder. They were just next to me.
Okay. But look at it like this.
I was bored.
Let's take a school.
Story time wasn't doing it for me.
Okay, give me a number.
What would it be like if I put my mouth in someone's shoulder? I think I was actually literally envisioning dinosaurs.
Okay, that's different. Let's say, let me ask, how many kids out of an entire school's population do you think went to or got in trouble because of physical violence as a reaction of anger?
Well,
how many kids out of, let's say 300, let's say the school has 300 kids, how many kids do you think had done
the way you debate and argue is so interesting because I want to attack this before I answer the question.
Because in my head, let's say 20 kids go to the principal's office out of anger-related violence, right? Okay. Well, let's say that number is 20 out of 300 kids. Then in my head, it'd be incorrect to look at that, be in the future and look at that in the past and then say, Well, I think a lot of kids when they're younger had anger issues. Well, that wouldn't be correct then if only... I mean, how many kids were getting in trouble for violence in school? We don't
You
know
might
the
not
number.
like this. You might not like this.
I might not.
You ready? When you were a kid, when everyone's a kid, not just you, we become what we're around. Okay? We become what we're around. And your mother seemed, the story that you tell me, I immediately understand that one of the biggest and most violent moments you've ever seen her in is when she was out of the home setting in a restaurant.
Oh, no.
Which is a lot of people, a restaurant is their place to blow their top. So
really? You think so?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, because it's detached, for one. Like, I get mad at this girl coming door to door because it barely ever happens. And I think in my mind, I feel like anger is bad, right? But I'm challenging that actively as we go through this podcast. But I have to admit, I think anger is bad. And it's kind of an okay anger. Never going to see her again. Maybe I can come up with weird things like, well, if I'm mad at her, she'll realize she shouldn't be doing what she does and she'll leave other people. But the reality is, if it wasn't her coming to my door, would I have been angry? I don't know. Probably. What would it end up being about? Could I have not been angry? But I believe it builds inside of you. And when I felt, it's like it's more, anger is a weird thing because there's different ways to think about it. There's like the unacceptable way when you injure or are violent or, socially that's just like, no. But there's also like adrenaline. And it's a blurry line because when I didn't slam the door in her face, I just kind of stared at her and closed the door. But then my heart's I went back to lay in my bed and my heart's like, I didn't even say a word to her. And I feel like a lot of times anger is very much like a certain situation. Like you even talk about it in terms of school discipline, which is very interesting because kids don't spend their whole lives in school. And it...
Think about it. We're 20. We've spent a majority of our life in school.
Is it majority?
Over 12 years? Over 12 years. No, like 8 years. Well, it depends if you go to college. If you go to college, it's like...
But right when you come out the womb, you start soaking it up like a sponge.
Let's say you start school at 4. It's K through 12.
We can just agree that it's substantial. It's just an incredibly
amount.
substantial. You've been in school more than you've probably done any other activity.
Yeah.
Maybe.
For sure. No, for sure. By miles.
That's why it's probably so eye-opening to turn 30 because you realize, like, I could have created my own school.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we realize how much school shaped us until another school time period passes when we're actually not in school and we realize whatever we've been doing this past school period also shaped us in the exact same.
Dude, I think it is completely valid for me to say that when I was younger, I could be classified as having anger issues.
But do you
because
think
of examples?
It's also completely valid for me to say I don't think that...
And it's not like I'm putting a label on me like loser because I understand that argument. That's a completely valid argument because I've completely grown out of this.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is correct, but I think it is oversimplifying it for
So what if you
cases.
duplicate yourself? What would you think of the person, the other Pete, that everything is the exact same, but instead of saying he grew out of it now, he says, now I look back on it and I don't necessarily think I would even describe it the same way as I used to. Because it seems like you've carried the truth of like I've had anger issues with you. Like, do you think that's ever subject to change, or will you forever always remember having anger issues?
Dude, I don't know, man. I was pretty violent, and that's why I spend a lot of effort, particularly trying to not be violent with somebody. There'd be a time when like I'm on a bus, and a kid would tell me to move my seat, and I'd get up, and then I'd just fucking slam their entire body into the side of the bus.
Dude, that's
and their
just
head
school.
would hit the fucking window.
Yeah, kids fight.
I know, but
I've punched, like, because I don't think plenty of time.
that was just one.
Never
example.
ended up in the office ever.
No way.
Maybe you're just a dumb kid. Most kids could punch, fight, beat up, and be physical, and have really a lot of anger built up and released all in one moment, and never see it inside of the principal's office. Now, granted, my school was huge.
I think it was a school. I think your school, because at my school, it was like one thing happened, boom.
So how do you think that shapes it? Because
yeah, what if I didn't get in trouble as much? What if I looked at it differently?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Or, maybe what if you got in trouble just as much, but it was even, your school was 10x the size, and there was like another your school's current sized group of people inside this larger school that also got in trouble same amount as you.
Say it again. Sorry, I dozed.
Well,
say the exact same thing again.
There's 300 kids in your school or your grade?
Let's say there's 150 in the grade.
Okay, so and then 10 of them
Let's say 10
are just like you and have been with the same disciplinary things.
Okay, yeah, they're all they get in trouble. They all go to the office because they're all violent. Let's say that.
Well, and then what if there's a second version of you that goes to a school with 1,500 people, and there's 160 kids that...
Yeah, that's different.
But in what way, though? Like, would it not...
Let me put it like this. Like, I think I have this... I have this worry, because I did a lot of martial arts. A lot of everything. I have this worry that, let's say I'm intoxicated at a bar.
Okay.
I would be worried of hurting somebody. Let's say it got physical. I would be worried of hurting them too much.
This is interesting because
technically...
you might turn into one of those old guys that you see on those fail videos where they blow their top at a kid in Walmart and they actually think they have a chance at beating up a 15-year-old as like a fat old man.
A fat old
like
man.
This is where they started, is you. Like, because sometimes you'll see these Karens and these people that get so they get so mad that they lose. It's like a visible instance of losing a sense of reality. Like, you're never gonna catch this kid on foot. And if you guys,
you're running after him. Oh man, you already lost it.
I know. And if you actually squared up with one another, like, dude, like,
have you not seen the flip side of those videos where it's like a 60-year-old and like a 15-year-old and they get rocked?
The 60-year-old rocks the 15-year-old?
Oh, yeah. You've not seen that? That shit is so satisfying.
But there's always weird instances, like who strikes first. Sucker punches can really make a big deal in a fight.
What's the password on this Johnston?
From the K to the enter.
Gotcha.
All right, this is the second ad spot of the third and final ad spot. No caps. Third and final ad spot of the video. If you're interested in sponsoring this episode of Keeping It Real, you could. You genuinely could. And I'd love you to. So... keep in mind that not only would you be a sponsor of one of, if not the best show on the internet, but you'd be the first sponsor. The very first sponsor.
This 77. Okay, this is different. This 77-year-old fought off a mugger.
Well, I'm not going to put any videos up on screen.
Yeah. It's rare, but it's like, it's just like some old man. The kid, let's say the kid deserved it, right? I'm only talking about situations where the kid deserves it. Let's say...
Well, that's always a weird thing, too.
Yeah.
Because how can you...
There's a video going viral now of like a 15-year-old threw something at this old man's wife. And then he got up and like got physical with this kid. And people were like, well, justice because the parents didn't raise him right. But I mean, there's so many things going wrong already. But that video like just recently went viral. I don't know. I definitely feel like the difference is with martial arts. It's all about control. When you get, let's say you get too fucked up, you could start to lose control or discipline. Right. The difference is, let's say you have someone who doesn't know how to fight at all, and you have someone that does know how to fight at all, and let's say they both get fucking drunk. Obviously, one of them has more potential to hurt somebody on accident.
Debatable.
I don't think that's debatable.
Cause I mean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, let's say a drunk person knows.
What if they both have guns?
Okay, well, we're not talking about guns.
Okay, forget the guns.
You shouldn't be intoxicated with guns. It's already breaking the law.
Forget the guns.
Forget the guns. I think they've been trying. You see what I'm saying?
Not really. Well, I mean, yes, really. But I'm trying to challenge it the best I can. I just don't believe. I would never say what you're saying, because for me, it sounds like, for whatever reason, you think that there are objective truths and large data sets of fight instances, and I think that being trained in jiu-jitsu and all, and being spending 8 hours a day training for years and years and years is actually not as big of variable.
No, it is, bro. No. There's court cases. Let's say you're a black belt and you get intoxicated, and let's say it's a guy who's not a black belt, and let's say they started the fight, and it's in self-defense, and because you're intoxicated, you're defending yourself, but let's say you go overboard. Let's say you do too much.
Dude, we're saying a lot of things hypothetically.
Okay, well, it's sake of argument. Let me finish. In court, there are situations that because he was a black belt and he knew more knowledge, he should have had more control and was actually found to be in the wrong.
So, because he spends a lot of time like punching a dummy?
Well, no, because
like people that carry a gun are supposed to be certified?
Yes.
I mean,
If two people get in a fight and one's a black belt and one isn't, and the black belt does more damage than he hypothetically needed to, the court looks down on it because they should have known better because they are certified.
I see what you're saying. I just think I've always seen that kind of stuff where they go and roll around at gyms and spar and all as a cool thing. But in my mind, it's a hobby like all other hobbies, and I've never seen it to be what people make it out to be. I think the people
What do you think people make it out to be?
Oh, I think those kind of people, they act like their training is the equivalent to a gun, like a complete situation changer. And I mean, even a gun isn't like that's a bad example. It's more, I just think that the truth is like I could make a lot of different arguments why spending your time doing a lot of different things would actually make you better in these scenarios that people that spar and are in the gym like so constantly bring up and imagine.
Well, there's a statistic on how many
like
fights
for one,
end up on the ground.
For one, I think if you want to actually have my respect in a conversation about fighting and hand-to-hand combat with no weapon involved, like it comes down to it, like here we go, like adrenaline pumping, all that. If I would be much more inclined to listen to somebody that is in the UFC, actually genuinely does it over and over and over and over and over again. Because I think these guys, they train a lot, but training is not like, you're just very good at training. I don't know how else to say. Like it's a workout, and I've always respected working out.
I could not disagree
that's good
with
for
you more strongly.
I don't think I think going on long runs and doing extreme cardio and calisthenics, high intensity interval training would actually result in you performing better when times come down to it and it's like time to like strike and survive and be in a real fight. And if that's just one example. I think the best thing you could do when it comes to actually fighting is actually fighting. Now people don't do that, and
they do.
They don't, and I'm not suggesting people do that. The UFC is a stupid thing. I feel like our mind has evolved so much that we should not be. They get CTE, brain damage. Their careers don't last long.
But money.
Who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? You're giving up your health. It's not something that
that's
you
why
should.
There should be an age limit.
It's not something that you like. It's not something that like. There's a reason why people. It's like society is hooked on alcohol for so long, and now the most rising percentage in alcohol sales is non-alcoholic beer. You know how like ridiculous that is?
True?
Yeah, and it's not ridiculous that that's rising. In my mind, it makes sense.
No, that is kind of ridiculous.
We're getting smarter. People don't want to.
Then just drink water.
That's what's stupid. That's what's stupid. That's what's stupid. It's like I want to drink, but I don't want it's like
the shame of not drinking.
I don't know what it is.
Because it looks like a beer can.
I drink water. I just drink water, And even though I just drink water, I find myself trying to drink a lot of water when everyone else around me is drinking alcohol because they're drinking a lot of alcohol. So I want to drink a lot of water. It's like this thing, right? And people that are around people that are around people that are around people, it's fun to glorify and imagine yourself in a fight. It's something about it. It's just really exciting to think about, like, the next guy that crosses me,
it would be the
I'm going to fuck him up.
Winning.
Yeah, it'd be the sad. Imagine your girl standing behind you. A crowd saw you beat up someone that was talking to a little girl inappropriately, trying to take her away, sex trafficking, and you fucked his shit up.
Well, what's wrong with that?
Well, that's my very
What if
thing.
it's appropriate? What if someone's like,
I think it's just as incorrect and harmful to you as being super excited to make, super excited about an idea you have for a YouTube video or Instagram reel.
well, there's an actual phenomenon called behind that, and it's exactly what you're describing. It's it's the hero complex.
Dopamine peaks before you actually do the task that resulted in that dopamine peak, and then after you have the dopamine peak, because we're so intelligent, we're able to just take that and then not actually do the task. Like, we realize this.
It's the hero complex.
We
it's
realize this.
What it is.
We realized it, and it. Every single time before I would smoke weed, I'd get really excited.
But okay, hold up. But you're not making any sense to me. You're saying that if you had a black belt and a UFC fighter, right? Hypothetically, just they're a black belt, all they do is train. They're not actually in fights.
Right.
That you would respect them differently. Obviously, you'd respect them differently, but I mean, like, it would change your opinion on how you thought they did in a real fight.
I would be much more willing to listen to the UFC fighter tell me about what it means to fight someone. What it means to be angry. What it means to have adrenaline. What it means to be a fighter. Would you not agree with that?
It's two cases. No, there's situations where, like, you could have
the black belt person doesn't interest me. It doesn't interest me that much. If I'm a person that's interested, and in this conversation I am, because that's what we're talking about fighting, talking about hand-to-hand combat. So it's like, why would I ever want to? A black belt person would pale in comparison. I mean, someone that fights in the UFC, I'd be like, okay, this guy should shut up and listen to him.
I don't think you've met enough black belts then.
I've met a lot of black belts.
Okay, and they're probably shitty black belts.
I've been in the gym.
They're probably shitty black belts, being honest.
Shitty black belts?
Dude, there are so many shitty black belts. And I'm specifically referring to kids that are black belts.
Listen. If we're talking about being a black belt, and it takes discipline, it takes strength, consistency, immense amount of effort that don't involve anything close to this dopamine fallacy that we're talking about. I mean, they do it every single time they think about doing it. There's no way around it. They wake up, they're in the gym, they're crowned the fabled black, and their stripes and all that, levels of discipline above. They continue to exceed. They're the heads of their gym. People always want to learn from them. But I would, if we were talking about, this, I just see it as a workout. So if we were talking about like working out in this arena, like there's many different kinds of working out, and very much so, their working out does involve high intensity interval training. It does involve intense amounts of cardio. So I would, then that would be like, okay, now I'm seriously interested. But if we're talking about two men fighting one another, I mean, even UFC doesn't even do it, because we used to fight to death. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think there was a time before
we were used to, but it's still reality for a lot of places.
I mean, I'm talking about fist fight to death. You'll never. Yeah. It's very, very rare nowadays to see with just hands, two men, and one of them actually kills the other one with their hands. But I think there was a time before, but there was a time before we could necessarily form entire sentences when it was very, very common.
Oh, for sure.
Very common. And it contradicts, it's like an outlier case, because we survive in groups. And if we don't have any friends or we're not social, we die. So it's very much like, why would you kill someone? But there are certain times where, I don't know, this thing would just kind of happen. So it's like, even a UFC person is watered down. But I just think a black belt,
watered down.
I think, it's non-alcoholic beer. And I think someone with a black belt, when it comes to fighting, is the most watered down you get.
Dude, I disagree, because I would say that like 99% of black belts would kick your ass.
I mean, I'd say a lot of black folks carrying guns in the hood might be even more interesting than the UFC guy, because that power to take another's life is like...
Okay, but we're looking at your opinion of them, right?
I guess, and then it comes to the question, like, I thought you were talking about beer, and now I'm talking about moonshine.
Okay, could we get a clarification of your opinion?
On what?
On how you look at, let's just say, how you view a black belt. Let's say, I don't know. What led to the original thing that you say your like respect for their ability to fight? They're just training. You know, what led to you thinking they're just training? I mean, obviously they are just training, but
I thought we began to discuss it, because we came from anger, right? And I was getting the impression from you that, you know, you believe that you could, that it's like there's still this thing inside you, you know, that like you can't, that like you control, and it's just so, it's like it's an outlier when you compare it to everyone else, all the other men that.
oh. Well, let's say it's the same thing with you, like trying to not smoke weed. You're saying that you still like hypothetically have the urge.
Well, no, I don't have the urge.
See, that's changed. You before said you had the urge and you're resisting it. It's completely different than not having the urge in the first place. And I believe there's.
Well, I have the urge, but I think when it comes to me and smoking weed, I like could smoke it again.
Well, it's the same argument. Like, let's say it's someone having the urge and resisting versus someone not even having the urge from the beginning. It's completely different than having the urge and resisting. See what I'm saying there? Am I making sense with that statement or no? You have the urge, not you, but let's say you hypothetically have the urge to smoke weed and you're actively resisting to smoke it versus never having the urge to smoke it in the first place. Those are just two. Okay,
so in parallel to what?
In parallel, let's say someone has too much testosterone. Let's say you tested them and their hormones, they had too much testosterone.
Very subjective to adrenaline in all these scenarios.
Yeah, let's say they're very subjective to adrenaline, and then they have to constantly choose to either work through their anger, either through therapy or whatever, to get around it, versus someone who isn't working through their anger because they're just not getting angry.
That's what I'm saying.
They're not getting angry.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Why do you think, what makes you so sure that?
Because I feel the emotion of getting angry.
Yeah, but what makes you think that this instance is, you know, relatively uncommon?
I don't think it's completely uncommon, and I think a good example is road rage.
Well, my argument is it's not only completely uncommon, but I'm coming from like it is one of the most common and shared experiences of being a human being.
I think it's a very common shared experiences of experiencing anger, but then it's so hard to dictate how many people, because people deal with it in such a different way. How could you say which way is more uncommon or common to deal with it?
Well, that's a different discussion. I'm just talking about, you know, you came from that testosterone point where you were like, when you were like that feeling of, you know, and you almost tried to make it like anger is a result of testosterone. And that would have to be, we'd have to see about like scientific studies and all. I'm just of the opinion that.
Dude, I definitely think it is. I've experienced it being that.
I think someone that has zero I don't know how testosterone levels work, but 0 to 100, someone that has zero testosterone can get just as, if not more, and not even as an outlier case, you know.
No, because think about it. It's the whole reason why men are stereotypically angrier. It's not a stereotype for no reason.
I don't think men are, but it's a stereotype. I don't think men are angrier than women.
Bro.
I don't think men are angrier than women.
I think on average, probably. What? How many times have you heard of women getting into a fight at your school?
They don't fist fight. I mean, you said to yourself, it's all different.
Okay. Hold up. Yeah, there's a big error in my statement. I'm saying angry.
We got to wrap this up.
I'm saying anger and it resulting in violence. I completely agree with you that they experience the same amount of the emotion of being angry, but that translating into violence is the disconnect between a woman and a man sometimes. I think men turn it. I would claim it's a fact that men are more likely to make an angry emotion turn into physical violence than a woman. I think that is more rational, more has such like it's. I think that's valid. I don't think you could argue against that. I don't know how you could.
I'm not arguing. I mean but that's like a whole different thing. And with
that's
that, the episode's over.
Not yet though.
All right. Please do the honors.
Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Jackkadis out.